All stations, stand by for an incoming radio transmission.
Hey, good morning, everybody. It's Bob, K6UDA, from the K6UDA radio show, or Guns and Ham Radio, whichever one you happen to be tuned into at whatever time. And I sure wish you'd tune in over here on Rumble. I'm gonna have a little sip. Man, big show. Not exactly what I anticipated doing last week. As of last week, I mean, last week we talked a lot about the laws of self-defense, and it just every day things just kept happening, and here we are today. Basically, we're going to talk about our daily dose of violence, i.e. the war has started. Guys, I think for the foreseeable future, this is what civil war looks like. It's going to be daily or semi-daily, where something is going to get attacked, some organization is going to be targeted. We now have a new terrorist designation for Antifa. We're going to see an increase in suicide shooters and I'm afraid suicide bombers. We're going to talk about morally battling evil. And we'll talk about some of the laws of self-defense again in light of having, say, Antifa designated as an actual terror organization. I am going to bring that out, come out over here. I have with me today, not one, but two people in there. Oh, there's Terry. Hi, Terry. Jeff and Terry are both in the house with us today. And
good morning.
all of you guys, both of you guys are gonna have a lot to contribute to the conversation today. Let's see. I need to pull up a preview mode. Ah, there it is. There it is. So I can look in the right spot and I can see what's going on. We got just a couple of minutes, guys. We got about 10 minutes before we start the big show. So how's everybody doing? Jeff, you haven't been around for the past couple of weeks. What's been happening in your world?
Just been busy traveling back and forth down to Florida, back up from Florida. So now I'm back in Michigan for the next 3.5, 4 weeks, and then we'll be back to Florida. Just staying busy with work and personal stuff.
Okay. And Terry, how about you? What have you been up to?
Well, not much. Just sticking around Twin Falls. We did take a few days off and run over to Oregon to Baker City and enjoy a historical hotel there that's was built back in the gold rush days. It was a lot of fun, but at least it was a getaway. Not
But
like
you,
Jeff gets to go to Florida for months.
but you had a more tactical mission in mind when you went there, didn't you?
Well, I first renewed my CCW for Oregon.
Okay. See?
So
So there we go, guys. You got to be thinking tactically right now. Hey, it's coming. Let's see. We got three of us. Let me make sure that this screen is working. Oh, and I don't have my pop out thing, my chat. So let's go over and give me a second, guys. I'm going to pop the chat out. Oh, we got 4 of us in here now. All right. I got somebody in the. I need to pop that chat out and bring it in over here. And there we are. Okay. All right. So in the wow. Matt's in the house too. Holy crap. How am I going to do this? Good morning, Matt. I'm going to assign you to number 3. Holy crap. I don't think we've ever had 3 people. And I don't have 4 slots. I don't have a 4-slot deal set up. So, how am I going to do this? Let me come into here and we'll say hi to Matt. I'm going to add Matt to the right of me. Matt, how you doing, brother? Oh, you can't hear me. Can you not hear me?
Good, buddy.
Oh, you got a little bit of feedback, or
No, I can hear you.
a little delay coming at you. So, what's happening with you, my friend?
Yeah, I hear that. Typically I run this window muted.
Okay.
So,
Well, we are live right now.
not much.
So.
Just got a sit rep for you.
Okay, cool. I'll get back to you on the sit rep, and then we'll
I see that. Okay. All right.
We'll move. All right.
I'll mute this tab.
Okay, brother. I'll talk to you. And I come back to here, and we'll go back to our 3-shot there. Look at that. Almost like I'm a professional.
Almost.
Almost. Not exactly. Let's see. We're 5 minutes till. Somebody got any comments up there?
No.
No comments on the comment board?
No, just a lot of good mornings.
Okay. Nothing interesting.
They're waiting for you to get started. So
yeah. Man, I what do you guys think? I believe this war has kicked off. I think it started. And we're in the midst of it. And I think this is what we're going to expect to see for a while. I think until either A, the government decides we're going to treat these terrorists as enemy combatants and we're going to actually fight a war, or we the people start defending ourselves, and hopefully we got a government that backs us in that self-defense. And I think having a group like Antifa, you don't hear much from BLM anymore. I think those gals that own that, they bought their houses and they decided they're done. I mean, I think the black community, they figured out that BLM wasn't doing them any favors. They never did anything for the black community. It was just a big money grab. Jeff, what you got behind you? Man, you got a couple of cases sitting there.
They've always been there.
Anything
No, that
fun
one's
in
empty.
those?
Empty. Well, there's a crossbow. The brown one's a crossbow. but and that's
Oh.
in there. But the rifle case is empty.
Oh, okay. Okay. Let's see. I'm gonna jump over here. I want to see how many folkses we got. We got 20 over there, and I'm gonna jump over to X and see. Ah, I gotta put Matt in there, and we've got. Looks like we got a few people over there, and jumping in. We got just a couple of minutes, guys. This is the part of the story here where we're just kind of getting warmed up here. We start about 15 minutes early, and then we do the radio portion of the net, and then we really get into the whole the real purpose that we're here. If you're brand new around here, we started this, I started this as a ham radio net in order to get people aware of what has been happening. And it was a preparedness thing. And it was kind of like, hey, what if we need to meet for news and information amongst ourselves? And here we are. We're still doing that. And right now it's still on the practice. But who knows? I also, we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it all a little bit later. I'm going to bring that one over here so I can see what I'm doing. And we're going to jump over to screen number 2. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. All right. And it looks like it's time. I'll talk to you guys in just a couple of minutes. All right. Good morning and welcome to the Southern Idaho Preparedness Net. I'm Bob, K6UDA, your net control this morning. This net meets every Saturday morning at 0900 hours Mountain Time on the K6UDA repeater, located deep within the Southern Idaho Command in Twin Falls, Idaho. This is a digital radio net accessible via WiresX room 40448 and YSF reflector 40448, both the Idaho Command. Also available on the Hanson Butte 2-meter fusion repeater. Actually, it's 443, not 145-170, but 443-700. And local hams with analog radios can also participate using the KB7 DFP repeater on 442.000. That's Echolink and All-Star. The purpose of this net is the free exchange of information related to emergency preparedness, commonly known as prepping. We encourage deep dives into subjects related to food, water, shelter, personal protection, weapons, survival tactics, medical issues, communication gear, and techniques. I'm always looking for subject matter experts to lead discussions on all these various subjects. If you have material you'd like to present or discuss, when you check in, please indicate that you have a subject. Although not primarily political, discussion of relevant political, cultural, or religious events are welcome in the context of situational awareness and survival. Excuse me. As part of my personal preparedness plan, practicing for and the gathering of and dissemination of important news and information, to my friends, family, and my local community is what this net is all about. So, as training, we do the sit rep section or situation reports every week. While times are good, I'm using general news stories that I find interesting. And I ask everyone here to contribute their own stories or sit reps, especially if they are in or near an affected area of an actual emergency. In order to give everyone an opportunity to be heard, I'm going to do comments and check-ins in the following order. We'll do local repeater check-ins, anything in the Magic Valley, or if you're connected to a repeater in the Magic Valley. Then Wires X, if you're on a Wires X node anywhere. And then YSF check-ins, if you're on the Idaho Command YSF side. You're encouraged to check in with your first name, call sign, location, how you're getting into the net, i.e. the local repeater, Wires X or YSF. That being said, do we have any local repeater check-ins? Come now.
Kilo Juliet 7, Romeo Alpha Romeo, Terry, Twin Falls.
Hotel, John, Kimberly, Idaho, coming in on the K6 UDA.
All right. Good morning, John, and thanks for checking in. Thanks for helping me out around here with all the antenna work and everything that you do. Do you have any traffic for the net?
Not too much for the net. I'll be traveling here this coming month in October, and so maybe when I get back, I'll have some things to report on what I saw going across this country.
All right, that sounds good, my friend. And you can always check in from the road if you've got a little spot, some kind of an open spot or something like that. Let's see. We are looking for check-ins for the Southern Idaho Preparedness Net. Come now.
Kilo Juliet 7, Romeo Alpha Romeo, Terry, Twin Falls. Your repeater.
All right. Good morning, Terry. And Terry's in the background waiting to jump in when we do our 3 shots. So he'll give his sit reps and his information once we get there. Unless you have something for the radio crowd, my friend.
Whatever I have can wait.
All right, real good. And let's see. Looking for check-ins for the Southern Idaho Preparedness Net. This is Bob, K6 UDA, and we're doing local repeater check-ins right now.
This is Kilo 7, Juliet Tango Kilo.
All right. Good morning, Matt. And Matt's waiting here in the wings also for the live show. Matt, do you have anything for the net?
Just want to remind the net that there's a Discord channel. If you find your way there, I posted some of the things that are in the sit rep today.
Fantastic. Thank you, my friend. Thanks for reminding everybody and me. I think maybe if we get done here, maybe we'll turn on the Discord room and everybody can meet and go face to face over there. Check-ins, local repeater check-ins for the Southern Idaho Preparedness Net. Come now. All right, let's open it up to Wires X. Wires X check-ins from any node anywhere in the world. come now.
W6CJ, Wires X node covering Northeast Los Angeles and parts of Pasadena, with a sit rep story on HOAs.
All right, Jay, good to see you this morning, and we got you marked down for a sit rep. Looking for Wires X check-ins. Wires X, come now. All right. Let's do YSF. YSF check-ins. If you're on a YSF hotspot connected to 40448, come now.
DCJ.
Kilo Bravo 7, Sierra Quebec Sierra Lance, Twin Falls, Idaho, YSS, no traffic.
All right. Hang on. I just stepped on N7 RBP, but we've got KD5 DCJ is in there. And I see KB7 SQS and N7 RBP. I'll take them in that order. KD5 DJ or DCJ. Do you have anything for the net?
Yeah, good morning, Bob. This is Mike India Kilo Echo, KD5 DCJ. I'm located in southeast Missouri. I am mobile on Interstate 55. This is the first time checking into the net. And Bob, I wanted to say I've watched a lot of your videos on YouTube, learned a lot. Thank you, sir, for doing what you do. I want to wish everybody out there a safe weekend. It's kind of crazy in the world these days, so everybody be vigilant. Anyway, I am on FTM 500 and going through YSF on a hotspot. And thank you, sir, for letting me check in. And that's all I've got. Back to net control.
All right, Mike. Thanks for checking in, and thanks for being part of the net. Let's see. KB7SQS Lance, one of our repeater owners. You have any? Oh, you don't have anything for the net. So, well, good morning, and thanks for putting us on through the Magic Valley. Okay. All right, N7 RBP. Go ahead and take one. K6 UDA.
Okay, thank you, Bob. Getting quite a few freeze ups on Rumble, so I think I'll switch over to X. No traffic for the net this morning.
Okay, copy. No traffic. Good to see you, and good to talk to you. Any more check-ins? We'll open it up to everybody, anywhere, any mode. Check-ins for the Southern Idaho Preparedness Net. Come now.
Okay, it's 6 EVB, Patterson, California at.
Okay. All right, KN6 EVB And I saw KF0OHU in there. EVB, go ahead and take one. Go ahead.
Hey, thanks for doing this net. Really enjoy it. Let me in and out, and keep it up. Thank you.
All right. Hey, thanks for joining. Thanks for being part of the net. Let's see. KF0OHU. Sean and Gridley. Go ahead and take one.
Thanks for running the net. Yeah, the only thing that's going on here in Minnesota is we've got ongoing fraud investigations. It's turning out that people are involved in multiple scams all at once, and yeah, it'll be interesting to see how all that turns out. And the other thing that was going on is you've had a couple of camps that were dispersed due to shootings at them. And haven't heard where they relocated. Usually they don't move much farther than a couple blocks away, but that's about all the excitement we have going on up here. KF0, OHU, back to net.
All right, Sean. Hey, thanks for that. And man, in Minnesota there, I think this is going to be kind of one of those important nets for you. Hopefully you'll get something out of the conversation. Any other check-ins for the Southern Idaho Preparedness Net? Mm-hmm. All right, hearing none right now, let's get into the sit rep section of the net. I've got a couple of things. Number one, former FBI Director James Comey was indicted on Thursday for lying under oath about authorizing and an anonymous leak regarding the 2016 Clinton investigation. He's the first major official to face criminal charges from the previous administrations. And I think this might trigger some stuff. Let's see. Moving on. The Ivanpah Solar Power Facility. It's in somewhere in California. It's going to close early in 2026 due to inefficiencies in generating solar energy, as reported by the New York Post. Let's see. It was built with $2.2 billion and completed in 2014. Ivanpah has been deemed inefficient and has been surpassed by newer solar technologies. Well, we knew that would happen. The facility has been linked with at least 6,000 bird deaths annually, leading to environmental concerns. And it was originally supposed to close or scheduled to close in 2039. So basically, it's about 10 years ahead in being deemed inefficient. Okay, an ICE agent in Manhattan has been relieved of duties after pushing an Ecuadorian woman to the floor during her husband's arrest. Don't have much more about that, but it's there. And I think the last one from me. Oh no, not the last one. From Ammoland. This is in Santa Clara, California. Gun rights advocates are taking Santa Clara County to court over what they call an outrageous concealed carry permit process that makes it nearly impossible for average residents to exercise their rights. California Rifle and Pistol Association and the Second Amendment Foundation, joined by 5 local residents, filed suit against Santa Clara County Sheriff's Department in federal court. I'm going to let it drop. Let's see. Their complaint argues that the county's CCW system is unconstitutional, combining excessive fees, invasive psychological exams, and even political contribution disclosures into a process that chills both the Second Amendment and the First Amendment. This is kind of how crazy this one is. There's a $976 county application fee. There's $400 in training costs, a $500 mandatory psychological exam, and $850 every 2 years for fingerprinting and renewals. Sounds perfectly constitutional to me. How about you? Hopefully this case gets the proper outcome. All right, and I have one last thing. A left-wing gun club seeking to recruit members posted flyers on a Georgetown campus posters saying, "Hey, fascists, catch." That's their recruiting slogan now. They are recruiting for the left-wing gun club called the John Brown Gun Club, and that appeared in Georgetown University's campus on September 24th, featuring the slogan, "Hey, fascist," and using a QR code linking to a sign-up page. The slogan was written on one of the rounds used to murder Charlie Kirk on September 10th. And the John Brown Gun Club is kind of an infamous organization that is used for training of left-wing violent terrorists now. So I'm going to leave that one there for right now. All right, we had sit reps from let's see, Jay. You've got a sit rep from the left coast.
Good morning, everyone. W6CJ. Yeah, I have a story about fighting the homeowner associations.
All right, the mic is yours. Go ahead.
Okay, yeah, I'm going to talk this morning about fighting the homeowner associations. Please have a pencil and paper ready. I'm going to give you some information to copy down and act on later on. Okay, I've been reading about HOA, Homeowner Association horror stories. I suggest that you Google and read a few to get an idea of the six things that these petty tyrants do. But today I want to talk about HOA antenna restrictions. Many HOAs ban amateur radio, communications, TV, and AM radio antennas. Part of prepping is being aware of what's going on around us, and that includes trends that endanger our safety or prevent us from serving our communities in times of emergency. Reset. Obviously, being banned from communicating endangers families and communities, but HOA antenna bans have another dark side. Most antenna bans also prevent reception of free TV, forcing families, if they can afford it, to subscribe to cable or fiber TV. And as we all know, cable companies and big tech control TV content. Antenna bands prevent the reception of faith, news, commentary, local programming, and ethnic broadcasts, whether on TV, FM, or AM radio. Reset. HOA antenna bands affect all of us. For those, those of us fortunate enough to live in a non-HOA setting, or who can afford remote site operation, still need to help our amateur brothers who live in HOAs. So here's what we need to do. The ARRL needs all hands, ARRL members or not, to take just 30 seconds entering their call sign into an online template, creating letters to respective members of Congress, urging support for the Amateur Radio Emergency Preparedness Act. Bills introduced in the Senate, S 459, and the House, HR 1094, would require, if passed, homeowner associations to allow AM radio antennas if these are restricted for HOA covenants. Wait. Okay, grab your pencil and paper. If you are not currently living in an HOA community, there might be one in your future. 80% of all new U.S. housing developments now have HOAs. To support this important legislation, visit https://send-a-letter.org slash, I get my slashes mixed up, slash HOA slash, again, https colon slash slash send hyphen a hyphen letter dot org slash HOA slash, and enter your call sign. It just takes 30 seconds. Go there, enter your call sign, it fills in the rest. And please pass this on to other hands and encourage them to sign. Personally, I sent out about 70 of them to ham friends and a few ham radio lists that I belong to. So let's help out and keep people on the air. That's all I have. 73, and God bless.
All right, Jay. Thank you. Thanks for that, W6CJ out in California. And it looks like Matt has posted that link in the chat. So if you're watching on Rumble, you can go there and click on that. Let's see. Do we have any other sit reps out in Radio Land? Well, I know Matt, KK7JTK, said he's got a sit rep, and I'm going to switch screens over here and bring Matt in. Let's see. I'm going to bring him in on the right. Matt,
Hi, Bob.
go ahead.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and use the microphone on the radio. So I'm going to mute myself here on the computer.
This is KK7JTK. Does that echo too bad, or are we good?
No, we're good. We're good.
All right, thanks. Yeah, we wanted to start off with some foreign news stories. Over in the UK, people are being arrested for their Facebook posts, social media posts, stuff like that. And here we are with freedom of speech, and we take that for granted. One of the things that's happening with the arrest is that there's a gag order afterwards threatening them for further prosecution. And so when they're being arrested and detained for free speech stuff, they're not able to tell anybody about it. So often family members are reporting on people being arrested and detained. Also this week, the UK announced a new digital national identification needs. And obviously that's meeting some opposition, but they're basically saying that you won't be able to do anything in the country without this new digital registration. Earlier this week, the Secret Service found and dismantled a huge cellular-based threat, possibly targeting the UN councils and all that stuff that's happening this week in New York. They found 100 different SIM servers with over 100,000 SIM cards, possibly allowing them to swamp and overwhelm the cell towers to force communications to drop out in the area. Also this week, Russian bombers were intercepted in U.S. airspace over Alaska. I feel like we report on this about every 1 or 2 weeks. I feel like this is a pretty common thing, but I just know through my work and experience there has been a new antenna placed out there on that furthest island about 60 miles away from Russia. Some technicians from the company I work for went out to that this week, and just, I think, more and more saying, this is the beacon, this is where we have to stop, you can't keep flying planes over here. I'll drop for a second. Earlier here in the show, Bob talked about the John Brown Gun Club. I think that you're going to see more and more names that we haven't heard in the past start to pop up. Earlier this week, Antifa was designated as a domestic terrorist group. And so I think in light of that, you're going to see more and more names for other groups come out instead of Antifa, and more politically charged opposition coming through different group names. Another one of those that's popping up in the news this week is the 5051. Both of these clubs, John Brown Club and 5051, both have ties to Antifa. They're both calling for violence online. They're posting travel plans for Trump and other political leaders, claiming and they're saying where they're going to be, and then they're calling their constituents to violence for violent action in those areas. So just be on the lookout. I don't know what the new name for Antifa will be next week, but I guarantee you there'll be a new name because currently they're labeled as domestic terrorists. So they won't be able to operate the way they used to in the past. Anti-ICE mobs are still amassing in different spots in the country, but we're still watching Chicago this week as a hot spot. They're, blocking vehicles in and out of the ICE compounds and the buildings, and just, more and more violence there related to that. Another big news this week that's pretty upsetting is the Senate subcommittee met on September 16th, so it's actually a week ago, about the danger of AI chatbots. I'll let that drop. So AI chatbots, to this point, are unregulated, and they can kind of say and do whatever. There's been some testimonies this week of some parents whose kids committed suicide, and the way that it was presented, the information, is that the AI chatbots led them, suggested, or even pushed them into suicide. One of the AI chatbots told the teen that they would do it together. They would do the suicide together, like later that night. One of the big testimonies from a father whose son passed away, when they were reviewing the conversation later with the AI chatbot, the AI chatbot mentioned suicide to his son 1,275 times, 6 times more often than the user himself mentioned suicide. What's being said about the AI chatbots is if one of us as an adult had said those things to a teen, we would go to jail. And that's not the case for AI chatbot. Instead of the chatbot going to jail, they're calling it a feature of the system. That's it for me. This is KK7JTK.
All right, Matt. Hey, thank you. Thanks for that. And let's see. I need to do, hang on here. I got to do a little magic. There we go. Now we're back to the right screen. Okay. Do we have, I think that might conclude the sit reps. Terry or Jeff, do either one of you have sit reps for the radio side?
I do not.
Okay. Terry?
KJ7RAR. No, I don't.
Was that a yes, you do, or no?
That was a no.
All right, very good. I had to mute one of your inputs there. Okay, with that, do we have any final check-ins? Anybody else want to check in to the Southern Idaho Preparedness Net? This is Bob, K6UDA. And littering and smoking the reefer. All right. Hearing none, I'm going to end the radio portion of the net. I want to thank all 7 nodes that are connected. I want to thank everybody that's connected through one of the local repeaters, through YSF and Echolink and or All-Star. You guys, this is why we do this, is so we can we could pass actual news and information along from all of us, not just me to you, or from from one of these, any one of these guys. It's from all of us to all of us. With that, I'm going to go ahead and release all of the nodes, all of the repeaters to their normal ham radio use. I want to thank everybody. We'll talk to you all next week. I'm Bob, K6UDA 73 all. All right, now we're here, and I'm going to take us into the 2-shot with Jeff. Good morning. Good morning, Jeff. How you doing?
Doing good. How are you?
I am doing fantastic. I wish we weren't in the middle of Civil War, but and that is the topic for today is yes, we are in the Civil War. It has now been, it's the shooting war has started. Civil War. Why am I hearing? Who am I hearing? I'm hearing somebody coming through one of the inputs. Terry, do you have your sound on or something?
I had on you on the internet for just about 3 seconds to turn you back on again.
Yeah, well, no, if you could just mute the sound so that
It's
doesn't
muted.
feed back.
Yeah, it's muted.
Okay, cool. So I wanted to I want to go over just a few things here. There's my outline. We're not gonna look at that. We'll go in order. I wanted to talk about why I think, or why I say the Civil War has already started. Let's see, back on August 27th, the police, we had the shooting in Minneapolis of of 2 kids were killed, 17 hurt at a Catholic school and church while the kids were praying. That I think kind of started it off. And then, that was just the latest in a long string of school shootings over the years. Then the Charlie Kirk shooting. Everybody knows about that. We don't need to go into that right now. The next day, the FBI nabbed 2 Pakistani nationals for placing an incendiary device under a Fox affiliate news vehicle. That one is still under investigation, and that was, man, we're just talking about the last couple of weeks here. Then Jimmy Kimmel, late night host who has no audience anymore. Jimmy Kimmel made the same type of crappy comments about the Charlie Kirk assassination and about his family. And advertisers started pulling out, and they threatened all of these. They threatened their own affiliate stations. The affiliate stations complained to, what is it, ABC News or whoever? Yeah, ABC News. And ABC then pulled Jimmy Kimmel. Well, the next day, hey, what happens in Sacramento? Unfortunately, my old hometown of Sacramento, California, some idiot starts shooting the ABC station up, which prompted Disney to reinstate Jimmy Kimmel out of fear of I don't know what, but so you've got a lot of back and forth. Then we had just a day or two later, on September 20th, a country club wedding shooting. So there was one person killed, several other injured in a mass shooting that broke out during wedding reception in New Hampshire. And this guy was a pro-Palestinian, the suspect, pro-Palestinian guy. What he said was children were safe and, free Palestine. So, yeah. There's that. DHS fighting back against Antifa violence. This was in light of the shooting in Texas at an immigration and customs enforcement facility. Violent Antifa terrorist riot at Chicago ICE facility. That was yesterday. Then we've got the Dallas ICE shooting again. And then back to Homeland Security days after the Dallas attack. Rioters gather outside ICE in Illinois and chant, arrest ICE, shoot ICE. They were openly, whoa, how come? Let's see. Oh, you guys didn't even get to see that. You didn't even get to see the whole, crap. Oh, well, I'm sorry. I had all the front pages from all these newspapers and everything up. And, well, I guess whatever.
Just put them up. Just put them up as we're talking.
I tried to, and it didn't work. That's I just had them up, and the oh well. That's what happens when you're trying to produce and talk at the same time. Is things don't work. All right. Let's move into our 3-shot here. And Matt, I'm sorry, I don't have a 4-shot placeholder to
No
put you
big deal.
into.
I'm supposed to be setting tile anyways.
Okay. All right, with me right now, well, Matt in the background, Jeff and Terry, both in the house today. Man, good turnout. Man, I wish every week was like this, where we could just talk about all this stuff. All right, guys, welcome back to the conversation. Couple of things that I wanted to kind of get out real quick, main topics of I truly believe we have seen the start of a civil war. This is what it's going to look like for a while. I think it's going to evolve. President Trump designated Antifa a domestic terror organization. It's going to open the door to treating Antifa as enemy combatants rather than common criminals and rioters. I think Antifa, they're going to change their name, but the uniforms will be the same. The masks, I think they'll have their telltale, their telltale protester uniforms. And they might, well, eventually they'll change those. They'll put on civilian clothing and try to do it that way in order not to be deemed enemy combatants. But I think if the federal government so desires, if they've got the will to do it, they can combat Antifa and related groups with more warlike responses. And that kind of also, I think, opens us up as individuals protecting ourselves. If you were caught up in, I don't know, 1865 Civil War, and you're just, you're dressed normally. You're not a soldier, but you needed to defend yourself. It's pretty much war, and I think those rules apply more than anything else. And I think even more so today, it applies because the lines are so blurred. What do you guys say, Jeff? You got anything? Any thoughts about it?
I mean, yeah, I feel like, as we've discussed many times, I feel like the days of the Civil War where people fought with honor and wore their uniforms all the time are gone. Now it's survival of the fittest, and he who hides best survives.
Yeah, I agree. The problem though is, I take Terry and Matt and myself in a tiny little town in a state in a very red state, and I feel we're a little bit more insulated right now. You today you're back in Michigan, Illinois, but you're hours away from Chicago, right?
But yeah, I'm pretty far away from Chicago. I mean, I'm on the eastern side of Michigan up north. I'm about 6 hours away from Chicago.
Okay. So you're kind of insulated, and you live in the middle of nowhere out there. So
Right.
you feel fairly insulated. There's a lot of people here. Jay, W6CJ, for instance, lives in LA. He reports from the greater Los Angeles area. And I think Los Angeles, San Francisco, Sacramento on the West Coast have a huge propensity for some really violent encounters. I think, well, so the left. Let's just call it like it is. Since the Charlie Kirk assassination, you haven't seen any bombings or shootings coming from the right. What came from the right, Pastor Terry? Praying, memorials, vigils. We didn't. Nobody burned down a city. Nobody burned down a neighborhood. Nobody looted anything. Or at least I don't. At least I haven't seen it coming from the right. Have you?
No, the right is accused of doing all these things, but they're not the ones that do it. Not that every once in a while you might have one pop up, but normally it's the left that are violent and deceptive and lies and all these other things that we find very uncomfortable.
Yeah. Yeah. And the left leaning media, they try to blame the right for some of these things. There was the arson at, what is it, Josh Shapiro, the governor of Minnesota or somewhere back there, arson of his house. They tried to blame it on the right. Yet the guy was a pro-Palestinian protester, which is a very left-wing cause in our country. Hated Jews, wanted to kill the Jews. So he burns down or tries to burn down the governor's house with the governor's family in there. That's left-wing violence. But the media described it as or attributed it to right wing. Go figure. But anyway, so the left is now shooting places up. They've shot an ICE facility. They killed Charlie Kirk. They're shooting in churches. That's becoming a big thing. And I see that as being much more of a target now. Because it seems to me that that a lot of these shooters right now we're seeing shooters. They're transgender or trans affiliated. Though that segment of the population is a lot more mentally unstable than the normal population, much more prone to suicidal tendencies and actions. So is it a huge leap in the imagination that these people are more likely to commit a shooting or a bombing and in turn kill themselves? I mean, hey, they're going to picket, they're going to go out in their own blaze of glory and become infamous. That's kind of what I'm seeing as where we're headed. Terry, what say you?
Well, I don't know if you want me to do this now, but I believe we have to ask the question: why is this? Why is this stuff happening like it is now? I know that Trump, those that don't like him, get scattered because of that. But I believe there's something much more influential that's spiritual that has been prophesied for these last days, and so I see this happening as something that has been prophesied. You know, Jesus said, for those that aren't Christians that are watching, just put up with me for a few minutes, will you? Um, Jesus said, as in the days of Noah, is, is going to be what it's like at the end times here, just before what we would call the tribulation occurs. Actually, it works right into and becomes the tribulation. And he said, as in the days of Noah. And so when you go back to Genesis chapter 6 and you look in the days of Noah, one of the things that it says is that there's violence. The whole world was violence, corrupt, immorality, and you name it, everything that was perverted and was occurring. The interesting thing is that Hebrew word for violence there is Hamas. Believe it or not, Hamas or Chamas, either way it's spelled. It's Hamas. So what I see here is happening is just like, if let me go back just for a second, give me a couple minutes just to explain this. I think we'll see something here that we've not watched before. But in the days of Nebuchadnezzar and Babylon and all that, there was a spirit called the Prince of Persia that was over the Persian Empire that influenced and empowered Persia and corrupted the people of Persia to believe what they believed and held them and gave them the strength they need. Later, when the Persian prince was moved out, it says that another prince was coming, and that was a prince of Greece, which was, of course, Alexander the Great. So what we see here is we see that there are princes, demonic fallen angels, princes that are over nations, over peoples, over groups that influence and empower them to do what they do. So what we're looking at today is when Jesus said, as in the days of Noah, we have that violence here. It's the same spirit. It's the prince of Hamas. That prince of Hamas is over the Palestinians. That Hamas, Palestinians, what can you say? It's the same thing. The Palestinians support Hamas. It's influencing them. So when we see the Palestinians leave where they're at right now, over in Gaza and over in Israel, and we see them go to every single nation that has influence and power, that spirit of violence goes with them, and whoever is around them, and it begins to be influenced and empowered by that spirit of violence, that spirit of Hamas. That's why we see that wherever the Palestinians go, there is violence, there is murder, there is rape, there is everything you can think of that's violent and disgusting. That's why the Arab nations that aren't Palestinians don't want anything to do with them, because wherever they go, they cause chaos. So, what we're seeing here, these people that would never go out and shoot somebody, would never be violent and burn down a building and blow up a police car. They have been influenced, inspired, maybe demonically possessed. I don't know how far they have to go, but that's what leads and steers them. We talk about the trans group. I disagree with the trans movement and all that stuff, but not all the trans are violent. There are those that have been influenced when they're marching with the pro, and they have been inspired by that Hamas demon spirit. They're the ones that tend to be violent. There's others that are. I disagree with that. Like I said, I don't believe in that. But they're quietly want to try to live their life in peace. They don't want anything to do with this. But these guys are being empowered and influenced. They're the ones that are out there marching with the others. So what we're seeing here is a spiritual battle that is coming out and manifesting itself throughout the land. And that's why we know that, just like you're saying, and I agree with everything you said, Bob, that it's going to get more violent and violent. And I said that some time ago. I said we're going to start to see more bullets flying. We're going to see more people getting killed. They're getting that spirit of Hamas and the people is getting more manifested as the end times continue to get closer and closer and closer. So these people are getting more violent, violent, and violent, to where there's going to be, like you said, a civil war. And it's the left, only because they're the ones out there marching in and being inspired and filled with demonic ideas from that Hamas spirit. And so yeah, it's going to get worse. And here's the sad thing: is the leadership in countries, especially other countries like over in Europe, they're so afraid of them that they put down the good guys and they lift up and protect the bad guys, the Palestinians and the riots. And that what's going to happen here is the people, the big guys, they're going to say, "That's it, we're done," and there's going to be a revolution in their nation where they overthrow the leadership. So that I think is what we're seeing right now, and it's going to get worse and worse because we're moving into the last days of the end times. So if anybody has a question, they can about what I just said, they can write it in the notes, send them to us, and I'll do my best to answer them if they want. But I see it's going to get worse. It's going to get more violent. There's going to be more death as we move to the end times. And this is all scripture. I could, if I wanted to preach it here, which I don't, I could show you where it says what's going to happen and how the people are deceived in the last days. They are not only they're delusioned, but they are greatly deceived. They don't know what's right and wrong. They can't reason. Try having a conversation with one of these guys, and they end up yelling the first opportunity they get because they don't have an answer for him. Oh, why don't you do this? Why don't you like Trump? Why do you, and they can't give a reason because there's no reason. They're just being demonically uh, oppressed. And so we're going to see more of this. And so those that are believers, Christians, need to stand up and pray and be more involved in their prayer and be ready for what's going to happen. Just like you said, even though I'm a pastor, I still carry a gun. I've carried one ever since I was a cop, and even when I was preaching, I carry a gun. So I hopefully never use it. Never had to so far, but there we are. So that's my 2 cents in the short time I have here.
Okay. Uh, that's a lot. That's a mouthful. One of the big things that I wanted to cover today was the fact of being armed, having an increased sense of situational awareness. I think it's critical now, as opposed to a month ago. I think it's more critical. I think it's critical for us that live in as yet unaffected areas, because I think the chance of this violent civil war is going to touch your life. Whether you live in Twin Falls, Idaho, Los Angeles, New York, Chicago, Dallas, whatever, or Des Moines, Iowa. As a matter of fact, Orem County, or what is it? Washington County, Utah, in Orem, Utah, where Charlie Kirk was assassinated. They were like, the police there were like, we don't have violent crime. None. They, their police department was more in the service industry rather than the violent crime suppression or investigation industry. I think you need to be ready to defend yourself. You need to be ready to defend your family, which kind of leads me into this whole discussion. Let's see. Do we have anything? We got 32. It says, what do we have? Do we have any comments? Guys, if you have something to say, if you got something to put in the comments, throw it in the comments right now. We'll get to it. We've got plenty of time, plenty of will. And what was I saying? Oh, the fact that now Antifa is a domestic terror organization. It has been deemed so by an executive order. That opens up a lot of things. As far as I know, a foreign domestic terror organization opens up the fact that, hey, we can bring the military in, use the military to do surgical strikes anywhere in the world because we're at war with these people. And I don't know if being a domestic terror organization opens those same doors. I would think it does. Um, it's just the difference between, hey, we're fighting a war on somebody else's soil, or we're fighting a war here on our own soil. But it also says that, hey, uh, you can't let these people post their rhetoric and their stuff on X or on Blue Sky, on YouTube. Those platforms by law then have to kill those or kill. Yeah, they have to kill off those accounts. They got to say no. You're a terrorist organization, just like Hamas can't put up YouTube videos, and they can't post. Uh, they can't post on X and or Rumble for that matter, because the platforms can't allow a verified terrorist organization to have a voice. It's just counterproductive. Even though some people were going to say First Amendment, and this whole thing could easily shift. Our current government can easily cross the line. And I think if you guys remember back right after 9/11, I got duped just like millions of other Americans into supporting the Patriot Act. Huge mistake. But we were all in favor of it. We believed that the government was generally good and had our best interests. And that was kind of almost a universal thing here in the US. We weren't so divided that the left said, oh, absolutely not. You had a few in the left at that point, a very, very small minority who thought the way that the left thinks today. But help me out here, guys. Where am I going with this? Today, I think there's a much greater chance of our current government jumping the line and then alienating us and or turning tyrannical. Which brings me back to Terry again. When we are defending ourselves, defending our own lives, it's very easy to say, okay, look, Antifa is bad. What is to stop us from, hey, you know what? A small squad of patriotic guys, of patriots in this civil war, taking out a group of Antifa members. And I'm not saying military, I'm not saying law enforcement. I'm saying, okay, things devolve further. The violence increases. At some point, people on our side, I'll say, or the side of right, are going to have to step up. We're going to have to defend ourselves. Where is that line? And Terry, I want to ask you. There's that moral line. You say, okay, you put on the full armor of God and go to battle with the evil spirits. I mean, that's pretty much a spiritual sense of putting on the full armor of God. But I carry. I mean, almost everybody I know carries here in Idaho. How do we reconcile the full armor of God in the biblical sense versus, hey, I have my actual armor on. I'm armed, I'm ready. And
That's not a hard question to answer.
okay.
You know, there's spiritual battle, which we do in prayer. We put on our armor of God, and that's a wonderful expression. But the Bible doesn't tell us that we're to sit back and just be beaten up and massacred. It doesn't say that. Recently, you saw in, I think it was Dearborn, where the mayor just basically insulted a pastor that was there, saying, well, we don't want our streets named after terrorists. And the mayor said, well, tough luck. If you don't like it, basically get out of town. In fact, I hope you do get out of town. I mean, just really insulted. And so a lot of people, I guess, had responded to his actions saying, you need to sue him, you need to do this or that. And he says, no, I'm going to forgive him. There's a time that we forgive, and then there's a time that we fight. And like if somebody were to come at me and attack my child, my wife, or something like that, I have no problem in putting a bullet between their eyes. That's all there is to it. But the big thing is that what's going to happen eventually is going to come to the point when we as Americans are going to have to stand up because we're going to have to help the police. We're going to have to help the soldiers, the National Guard, and all that because there's too many of them. You know, they were overwhelmed. I mean, look what they do. You have a handful of ICE, and you got a bunch of paid terrorists or rioters to come and harass them. I still don't understand how come they don't get arrested for assaulting police officers. Every single one of them that you see them fighting with the ICE guys. Why aren't they toted away and charged with a federal crime? I don't understand why they're not. These guys are paid to riot. So there's going to come a time when we have to do that. Now the Bible does say turn the other cheek. And so if I'm sharing the word of God with you and you insult me, maybe even slap my face or whatever, I'll turn my cheek. But if it comes to the point where I'm protecting my family, my country, my neighborhood, my another friend or something like that, the Bible doesn't say don't do that. In fact, the Bible encourages it. You know, if you have two coats, sell one and buy a knife. You know, and there's a lot that goes along with that. And I'm kind of just jumping there. But no, we have to protect ourselves and our city. And like you said, if Antifa were to come, or if the Palestinians were to come and basically try to do what they're doing in New York and other places here in Twin Falls, I think they would find several thousand armed Twin Fallians. I made that up. Um, uh, Ready to protect our city, and I would be one of them. So but we're not going to go start something, but we are going to protect our nation and the policemen. I mean, how many cops do we have here in Twin Falls? Not enough to take care of anything that was organized by Antifa or the Palestinians. So they do need backup, and we are the backup.
Yeah, yeah. My biggest question though is, you and I talked about it before. Is if you do if you do the medieval things, you run the risk of becoming the evil or being influenced by Satan and being influenced by let's say right now the prince of Hamas.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
How do you
Protect
make
ourselves from it.
that wall that you're
Yeah.
not?
Okay, if you're not involved with them, you're not down there marching and going down there and mingling with them. You're fairly safe. If you're home watching TV or doing other things, you're fairly safe. But if you get around them and begin to, I'll use the word fellowship and be influenced by them, that's going to happen to you. You're going to get sucked in by that demonic spirit. If you are a believer and the Spirit of God lives within you, you have the power to resist, reject, and even spiritually fight that. Like I would have no problems getting around those people and sharing Jesus with them and debating with them. I'm not even worried about being influenced by them because the Spirit of God is in me, and I'm going to resist and reject, and there's no influence that's going to draw me there. So that's what they need. Either stay away from them, or make sure you're a strong Spirit-filled believer, and don't hang around with them because that influence will definitely move on you. You
Cool.
know, years ago, let me just share this one thing. Years ago, when I was a cop in Portland, we had the first Gay Pride Day there. And the governor was involved, and it was just a small little group of people doing their Gay Pride Day thing. I can't remember. It was in the 70s sometimes. I don't remember when. And I looked at that and I sensed that I said, I felt and sensed a demonic spirit over that group as they marched through town. And I said, uh-oh, that spirit has just moved into Portland. That demonic homosexual spirit moved in. Now, and I said, it's going to grow. And next year it grew. And next year it grew. The next year it grew. Portland is just a massive filled with sexual perversion of all kinds. More gay and more nudie bars and all that stuff there than just about anywhere else. And I saw that spirit move in, and that's the kind of thing that why Portland is considered one of the unchurched cities in the nation. And so people don't realize there's a truth to spirituality. God is real. Jesus is real. Demonic Satan is real. Spiritual warfare is real. They can deny it all they want. It doesn't matter. It's real, and we see it happening today in this country and around the world. So stay away from it.
Yeah. Jeff,
Yeah.
what say you?
How can I
From your,
talk after that?
I can't.
Well, that's yeah. So you're trying to pin it on me. I see how that works. I can't follow that.
Sorry, guys.
Well,
It just needs to get out there. That's why I say it. It's just I watch the news and I hear all this stuff, and I'm going, oh God, they don't understand what's happening. Not only in this country but around the world. They don't. The news, people that I like to watch. I watch Newsmax and stuff like that, and they're great people. They're patriots. They're for our country and all that, but they don't get it. They don't get and understand what's happening. And occasionally they'll have a pastor or somebody on there that does know as a guest, but certainly not enough to make a big difference.
mhm.
It's a spiritual warfare, and this is all prophetically given to us in the book of Revelation, and the book of Daniel, and Matthew 24, Luke 21, and all that. It's here. If you want to know what's going to happen next, open up Matthew 24, Luke 21, Mark 13, and you'll see what's happening next.
Wow.
And yeah, and we are.
Wow.
I've been teaching end time prophecy since just over 40 years, studying it and teaching it, and I've watched it change and things I thought was going to happen. I said, that looks like it's going, and it didn't. It went this way. So, I mean, things have changed, but I used to say a lot of times, these are the things that need to happen in order for the tribulation to begin and all that. And I said, but it doesn't exist yet. We're not there yet. Now I look at all the stuff that I used to teach that it's not here yet, and I say, it's here. Everything that needs to happen for the tribulation to happen and the end times to kick off, it's here. And it's a matter of when it's going to start, but it's here. So the biggest thing I can say is, and I know this isn't a preaching one, but is if you're not a believer in Jesus Christ, become a believer in Jesus Christ. That's your protection. And I'm not apologizing for saying that because I know this channel isn't for this, but I'm just telling you. Blame it on me. Don't blame it on Bob for saying that.
All right.
I could sit here. I could sit here and listen to you talk all day long.
Because
You are
it just
mesmerizing.
makes sense.
It does,
I
It
will
100%.
really
I will
makes
run out
sense.
of my wisdom pretty quick. Okay, so there you go.
You know, I really wonder at this point we're still looking at everything from this perspective of law-abiding citizens and criminals, where I think we're moving into a post law-abiding citizen versus criminal time, and it's going to be we're gonna fall into this wartime activity. And people that say, "Oh no, we haven't started. We're not in a civil war yet. We're not in a civil war." You look at other countries that are clearly in the midst of a civil war or have been in the midst of civil wars, and people are still going to the supermarket or going to the market, getting their food, getting their things. A lot of people are still going to work every day and doing whatever it is they do, whether they're, a plumber or they work in a hospital or whatever. They're still doing those things. Even in Gaza, people are still going to the market every day. So life doesn't stop just because you're in the middle of a civil war. People adjust. And to say that you're not in the civil war, or I think we're in the beginning. I think it's just now kicking off. I'm just wondering what I wonder what the wonder what the Lord has in store for us in the coming weeks and months, and it's getting very, very interesting. I think Trump designating Antifa as a domestic terror organization is going to have huge implications. I just read something today that Pam Bondi said she's going to commit DOJ and FBI resources to assisting ICE and Homeland Security in combating the violence against ICE. I think that's going to take a most violent turn. And it's just going to be a matter of time before you're going to have several guys with ARs are going to take out groups of these Antifa members. And I think that's the day you're going to see them take off their uniforms and really become hard to spot. Right now, they're pretty easy to spot. The blue hair, the black clothing, the flag of Antifa, because it's just an idea, right? It's not an organized movement or an organization. It's just an idea.
One thing that I'll mention. Uh, I I don't think you're old enough to remember the Jesus Revolution that happened in '69 and '71. They actually made a movie about that. There was a real movement at that time with the hippies. They were in drugs and everything. They were basically rejecting, resisting what was going on over in what do you call it? The war in slipped my mind. What's the name of that war?
Vietnam.
Thank you, Vietnam, and it was just violence and all that thing. Just all that stuff was around, and a real great, strong movement that just moved across the country. Started down there where I was living in Southern California. Remember the Beach Boys and all that stuff and all that, and so it was amazing. It just the power of God moved. The hippies became what we call Jesus freaks, and I was around then, and it just moved across the country, and changed the whole atmosphere at that time. And what's fascinating is now we're getting again in darkness like we were with the Vietnam movement. I mean, because Vietnam was such a people were just rioting because of that. But what happened is when we're getting in that same darkness now and violence now, and the kids are being sucked away and all that. When Charlie Kirk was shot and killed, when he was assassinated, martyred, all of us even though I didn't know him personally, I felt like I did, and I was, man, I was like, oh, this. My wife and I were both crying. It was sad because we saw a believer who loved Jesus shot for no reason, left a wife and two little girls. And I told my wife, I said, Jesus doesn't allow things to happen by accident. I mean, just the idea of Trump turning his head just a fraction saved his life. God just turned his head, saved his life. Why couldn't you have done that with Charlie? Charlie was a movement into himself. When he was martyred like that, look what happened. The whole world stopped, and people that were on the left began to say, "What's going on? Why is a guy like this, who hasn't done anything to anybody, being martyred?" And all of a sudden we see a movement of kids coming and saying, "I want this," and he has his little units that they set up in these colleges, and there was like 30 to 50,000 and more wanting to join up in the schools and the colleges and all that. There was a move of God, even probably greater than the Jesus movement back in the 1970. And so I think even though we're going to miss Charlie, what happened to him was a move of God for a revival. I'm not saying God did it, not saying God planned it. I'm just saying God used it for a great movement where look at all these kids that were going to college and getting sucked into the stupidity that they're teaching, and now they're turning around and they're following Jesus and they're falling in love. Just watching the funeral thing that they had on Sunday, tens of millions around the globe was watching that and being moved by that. So I think things are waking up, but that doesn't mean that things are going to get better, other than the fact that these kids are having a less chance to come to know the Lord instead of getting sucked into this idiocy in college. And but I think we're going to see that be the combatant to what is on the other side. So we can say thank you, Jesus. This is happening, but we also have to realize that that doesn't mean things are going to get hunky dory. It just means that the battle is going to get stronger and more intense. So just so that's a good thing. I mean, look at all the kids that have come to know the Lord because of that. And even though things are desperate, I also say that things are happening that's good. But at the same time, like you're saying, we need to be prepared because we're going to see, I think, these things happening in our cities like they're having over in other countries pretty soon, especially London. And it's and who one of you were talking about, I think was it you, going to jail for putting a meme up there saying, I disagree with that. People going to jail, they can burn you can burn American flag, the European flag, you can do that. But if you burn a Muslim flag, you're in jail. That's,
Yeah.
are you kidding? So we know where we're at over there. That's going to come here, and it's going to happen. As long as we have somebody like Trump in office, I think it will be pushed back. But after the election comes up or whatever, we still have a lot of rhinos in there and people that are just don't know what's going on that are running our government. So, but it's going
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
happen.
Um, as far as defense of self and family and because I kind of always want to bring it back to what we do as preparedness. Um, guys, it's time if you haven't been carrying, if you haven't really thought of how are you going to tactically either remove yourself from a situation or an area, or how are you going to fight what's going on now. um, an active shooter is a much different animal than a suicide bomber or a an intentional bomber. um, but the situational awareness is the same. You gotta head on a swivel. And in a world full of sheep, we need to be the sheep dogs. I mean, I don't know any other way to really say that. And all three of us have been first responders. You know, one of us looks to the cops as heroes, but we've all seen it. All three of us have seen it. We've all been the sheepdogs, the official sheepdogs, but we need to be the unofficial sheepdogs, and we can't be concerned. I mean, it's such a tough mental road to get to. Okay, if you live in Los Angeles, where they absolutely hate the fact that you can defend yourself. As a matter of fact, they've been trying to legislate the fact where you can't defend yourself in any way. You have to flee. You have a duty to retreat. And I go back to last week. California has a duty to retreat under the law, if you possibly can. Where other places like Idaho, and I guess, I mean, this net is the Idaho preparedness net, not the California preparedness net. But we have people in all these different places. I mean, Jeff right now is kind of behind enemy lines in what is it? Michigan, Illinois.
Northern Michigan. We got the castle law here.
Do you have castle? I mean, is it
Yeah.
fairly strong? But walk into a city. I mean, if you've got to go, what's your nearest major city?
My nearest major city is going to be like Flint, Saginaw.
Okay, so Flint, Michigan is near Detroit.
It's about an hour and 10 minutes.
Okay. And
Flint's actually more violent than Detroit.
Is it ruled by the left? Is it a blue city?
Yeah, I mean Flint's where Buick started. Flint's big. They're big union city. A lot of auto manufacturing there.
Mm-hmm. If you had to go there, I mean, I don't know the geography there, but I would assume an hour, 2 hours away from you right now.
About an hour and a half, hour and 40 minutes.
Yeah. Have you heard of any Antifa activity there? Did they have BLM Antifa riots anywhere near there?
No.
Okay. Well, so maybe you're a little bit more insulated. I know here in Twin Falls, we're fairly insulated. It's a small town. We're in a small community. The left is pretty well known to most of us that are paying attention. We see them at their little gatherings and protests. But Boise is an hour and a half away from here. And you see a lot more of that in Boise. You see a lot more of the left in Boise. I don't think Antifa would stand much of a chance there in Boise, especially if law enforcement unified behind themselves. Even if and I don't even know if there's an ICE facility there, or if they were doing any ICE roundups over there. Right now, today, that seems to be their little hotbed thing. But I could see them transitioning very quickly from that back into all Trump supporters are Nazis. Nazis deserve to die, and we're going to kill them. So, oh, Nazis go to church. So let's start burning churches, or or bombing a church. And I can absolutely see that on the horizon in small towns.
Hey, K Falls Bob just posted something breaking news. It said President Trump announces he will send troops to protect war-ravaged Portland and secure ICE facilities under siege from attack by Antifa, and he said that was on Fox News.
Wow.
It's about time. Bob, I'm going to have to file out because my battery's going
Okay.
dead.
All
So
right.
until next time, we'll see you guys. Good to see you again, Jeff. Glad you're back. And
See you, Terry.
yeah,
All right,
plug it
brother.
in.
I'll talk to
See you later.
you. Talk to you soon.
Okay, bye-bye.
All right. And then there were two.
Yep.
Well, that's very interesting. I mean, man, stuff happening just as we're talking about it. And
Right.
and so it actually said that Trump actually said that he's, and I can't see that. Let me go pull that over here. Trump announces he will send troops to protect war-ravaged Portland. I love that because that's exactly what it is. It's I would imagine then President Trump has fully acknowledged we're in the Civil War. And I always thought of, like the Civil War is going to be this Bosnia. Remember the stories coming out of Bosnia where, people were doing the low crawl to go get groceries. I don't know if we're going to see that here. I just don't know. Let's see. What do we have here in the? We got 14 in the X. 30 of us over on Rumble. That's awesome. That's awesome. There's got to be more comments than that. I mean, there's close to 45 people watching this right now. You guys must have a question, a comment, a suggestion. I don't know. Maybe you just
Don't
want me
ask
to shut
questions
up.
now. Don't ask questions now. Terry's gone.
Yeah, I mean, Terry's gone for the day, but oh well. Ask the questions anyway. I'll do my best. I'll
I am
confuse you
joking.
more. I don't know. I mean, here's one of my biggest concerns, or one of my biggest things that I've always, and I've had this in my mind. Okay, you get an LA style riot where they're throwing rocks on cars in the freeway, or you get, a Chicago style or whatever. Name your big city, name your Antifa riot. And those people mean to do us harm. So I'm waiting for a good guy or a normie, let's call it, in one of these places where you've got, and I saw a video, I think last night, of somebody, they were trying to talk to the protesters. They were interviewing, and I mean, you had these Antifa people all dressed in black running up and screaming, getting right in their face, pushing them, throwing rocks at them. I'm waiting for one of these people just to pull the gat out, bam, right in the face. It's gonna happen. I think they're going to, once we get to that, and it also will depend on law enforcement's response to that. Does that guy who was attacked, does he immediately go to jail and get prosecuted, or does the investigation lead to, hey, it was self-defense? And if it was self-defense, that will undoubtedly lead to more people committing acts of self-defense. I mean, it just will. It's like, okay, Charlie Kirk got assassinated, and now all of a sudden, almost every day since that happened, there's been blocks of extreme violence going on in this country. I mean, it comes up like a spring, like a wellspring, and it emboldens the people who are able to commit it. I mean, you look at the last 5 years where Antifa riots have been met with nothing. BLM and Antifa, almost no enforcement on those people. So what happens? The protests get bigger and louder. Well, nobody has been there to counter those, to stand up for their own rights. So they were literally burning cities down. And most of these people didn't come from the cities that they're burning down, because you're generally not gonna burn down the corner store where you get your own groceries. You want to go away from that. But I see, once on the self-defense side becomes acceptable, it's already become kind of acceptable that if they're blocking the street and you drive through them, and I'm not saying, okay, they're blocking the street, you got a clear view down the street, and you hit the accelerator at 50 miles an hour and blow through 25 protesters or 25 Antifa members. But if you can't get away, and if you don't have a duty to retreat, I'm driving down the street, these guys jump out in the street and they try to block my path. You toot the horn a couple of times, and when they look threatening, you keep driving. You drive through maybe 10, 15 miles an hour. They're not stopping a car. I don't care if there's 30 of them or 50 of them. They're not going to stop a car unless they all lay down and the car bottoms out on a few of them. But it's become almost acceptable now. That is a rational, valid means of use of force in that situation. People have accepted it, and it's happened more and more, and it happens more and more against or that ICE and law enforcement are doing that now, because they've typically been the guys that get stopped up or that that these groups are targeting is ICE. They're trying to stop them from getting from point A to point B. So now ICE is driving through them. Good for them. And that works for us too. That works in favor of us. I see, I was watching yesterday, this crap going on in Chicago. And I'm thinking at some point, these ICE agents, these federal agents, law enforcement, somebody is going to get forced into popping one of those ARs up and taking a headshot. And that will end, I think that will end that one riot. But as that becomes more of the rule rather than the exception, you won't see those riots anymore. What you'll see then is they'll change their uniforms. They'll take the uniforms off. And then it won't be the violent, 50 to 100 protests. It'll be a couple of them, and maybe they'll be standing there. But then you're going to get the bombings. The bombings will become more and more prevalent. And that's what we've got to watch out for. We've got to watch out for those people. I'll tell you what, they're not going to start dressing, for the most part, like normal people. They're still going to be, you could still see it. You could see it in their eyes. They're crazy. They are. And they're afraid. That's why they wear the masks. That's why they wear the black bloc. Is what they used to call themselves. I don't know. Man, we've been going for quite a while here. You got time to do a little Discord?
I could probably do a little Discord.
Yeah, you know what? I think maybe we'll adjourn from here. We're gonna jump into Discord. Let me try to get my Discord running here. And if I can get that running, I will give you guys a brand new link to get into Discord. If you're not already on the Southern Idaho Command Discord, it's happening. 3 of 8, 7, 8. Checking for updates. It's starting itself. Okay, and we'll get in here. And how I have to figure out what I'm doing here. I need to invite, create an event. I don't want to create an event. Sit reps. The after show chat. Invite people. There we go. I'm going to copy that. I'm going to place this into, if you want to jump on Discord, kind of a private-ish forum. I'd love to hear from you guys that are watching, both on X and Rumble. There's the link, and I'm not going to jump into the chat quite yet till we're done over here. Jeff, you got anything? You got anything that left on the table?
I do not.
We're looking for topics. This stuff it's hard to talk about. Kind of needs to be talked about, but we need to get back into the prepping mindset, and we need to actually prep. So, guys, I want to thank everybody. We've got 14 over on X. We've got about 30 of you here on Rumble. Remember, crap. There was a guy, Melbourne Ham Radio Association. Guy sent me an email last night in Florida, Melbourne, Florida. They're having their ham swap coming up, and I told him that I would help him out and post that up. And I forgot. Oh well. Let me run over here to me and yep, there we go. And I want to remind everybody, like, subscribe, share, comment, all that good stuff. We're here on Rumble. We're at Grayman Survival on X. Haven't really been doing the JS8 call 40-meter nets on Mondays. You guys let me know in the comments if you want to see that start up again. Let's see, Saturday morning nets right here, and you can learn more at S3 Films. And that's it. All right, guys. Jeff and I are going to jump over into Discord. We haven't done that for quite a while. That'll be that might be interesting, or it might be really short. Anyway, guys, you have a good one. We'll see you all next week. Don't forget to give me a hint what you want to see for a main topic. I'm Bob K6UDA, and this is Jeff KD8IOK 73.
See you guys.